It's a crucial time of year for farmers when they add up just how well their crops have done and find out how much their animals will make when they reach market. Well, our rural affairs correspondent, Gregory-Kumar, has spent the day at an agricultural show in Shropshire. Now, there have been some lean times for farmers, David, haven't there? Is this a better year?
Well, I have to say, not really, Nick. Prices overall have been drifting downwards for a good few months now. In a moment, we'll be talking about that with an industry expert from the sharp end for a good few years, let me tell you. But first, today is the day the NFU says we'd run out of food if we relied just on produce grown here in the UK. The NFU says we're becoming less self-sufficient in the food we produce. Food like the lambs from John Parry's farm near Albrighton, which we've been following on Midlands Today since, well, before they were born, from conception. We've seen them being scanned, the ewes that were carrying them, right through to lambing. And now, of course, it's time for that journey to end. And it does end here at the show for some of them. And I will say, if you don't like the thought of where your Sunday roast comes from, you may want to go and put the kettle on. Bridgnorth Livestock Market on Tuesday. At this time of year, the UK is slaughtering 250,000 lambs a week. But these batches of 6 lambs are special. They're part of a competition that all these farmers take very, very seriously.
I think there's some superb lambs here. I mean, the butcher will be looking for good butcher's lambs with plenty of meat on them, and lambs which they can get a big percentage of meat off when they cut them up. And there's some of the best lambs you could find around here.
Once everyone is ready, the judging begins. Now, the pen is judged as a whole, so just one duff lamb will drag the score right down. John, they do all look the same to me, so what are you looking for?
Well, for shape and a level pen of lambs like these, they're perfect more or less. And you get these other pens, there is some odd lambs in them which are not the quality of what they should be.
All these lambs are off for slaughter, but for the competition, one from each pen will be judged as a carcass. So they're all numbered, and a dice decides which individual animal will go on to the carcass competition at the Burwarton show today. So yesterday there was another market at Ludlow, and there were lambs there going into this competition. So this isn't just about rivalry between farms and farmers, it's about rivalry between two markets. And here are all those lamb number 3s ready for judging. And this display also shows how much lamb has changed and improved, in part due to demand for English lamb in Europe.
A lot of our lambs go to France and Holland and Belgium and Switzerland, to sort of high-end places, and those sort of get the trade in the market. So yeah, farmers are generally raise their game to try and get this little bit of an extra premium for what they produce.
And if John didn't win the competition, well, there's no doubting the pride he and other farmers take in producing the best English lamb. With me is Henry Yates, a Shropshire farmer of more farming experience than perhaps it's polite to mention. Mr Yates, the NFU says it's important we're self-sufficient in food. Why is it so important to farmers?
Because we at home here produce the best in the world. Food security is so important. Much of the world is in turmoil. Fighting seems to be everywhere. And that means, as we've seen on camera, some food isn't getting produced. So we must produce all we can in this country, as we did 100 years ago when the war was on.
So what about your farm itself? What do you produce? What kind of prices are you seeing?
Well, I'm a mixed farmer. We milk a few cows, we have a few sheep, we produce some beef, and we've got wheat. And all the commodities that are down in price since earlier this year. I've not known a time when every commodity was down. Potatoes are terribly cheap at the moment. It's been a good growing season, but it's serious. We need prices to lift just a little.
And what's the mood here at the show, very briefly?
Oh, the mood's good. The sun's been shining. We've had the best show in the United Kingdom for a one-dayer. People have been happy. We need it to go fine now. It's going to rain tomorrow, I think. We need to go home now, get our coats off and do some combining and get this year's harvest in. It's not in yet. And until we've got the grain in the bin, we haven't done harvest. We're not sure of it. So we're up. The elements are so important.
Okay, Mr Yates, thank you very much for talking to us. So from Mr Yates and from me and those lambs, it's back to you in the studio, Nick.
Thank you, David. In the early evening sunshine of Shropshire. Lovely, isn't it?